Book Club Schmook Club is brought to you by Talk Bomb. It's a book review show where I, Kristen Rogers Anderson, and my brother, Will Rogers, talk about a different book every other week. For more information, like our full archive of shows and our calendar of upcoming books, go to talkbomb.com/schmook. SHMOOK. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram under the usernames @ChillinKristen and @HauntedSponge. Book Club Schmook Club is available on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hello, welcome to Book Club Schmook Club. I'm Kristen.
I'm William.
And we are here to talk about Final Girls by Riley Sager.
That's right.
Yep. So, let's talk about it. What do you say, bitch?
What are you calling me, a bitch?
I'm hyped up.
Kristen, you and I frequently talk about what is our history with various books. Usually it's when we're reading some form of classic novel
Something
that's
that
been
we
around
could
forever.
have much of a history with. Yeah.
Seldom, it seems, do we actually read a book that is brand new and hot off the presses and taking the world by storm.
That's true.
However, before you even brought this book up to me, I had seen people talking about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And being like, well, I got my weekend set out before me. And it's images of meddling kids and final girls together sitting on a bed.
Yep.
And so it was in my...
Your personal zeitgeist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was curious about it. And personally, I assumed at first Final Girls... was a nonfiction book about the concept of final girls.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Prior to, I hadn't done a lick of research about it. I'd seen an image of the book sitting on top of someone's bed. Yes. A film book. And, so that's what I assumed it was. And when you suggested we read it, I said to myself, holy cow. You want to read one of these? This is great.
Okay.
We'll be reading about Jamie Lee Curtis. We'll be reading about Black Christmas.
For the record, I would 100% read something like that.
Well, next year we might read Halloween the novelization.
Yeah, totally.
To time it with the release of the brand new Halloween movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which the producer just said, I will cut my hands off if it is not ready for Halloween next year.
Oh, shit.
Something like that. I was like, all right.
Okay.
Okay, I believe you. It's okay.
You really mean it. We get it.
Yeah.
Keep your hands.
But so that was the excitement that I brought into reading this book because I'm a big fan of horror movies.
Yep.
I'm a big fan specifically of slasher movies.
Yep.
And so it seemed that this was then the book for me. So I'll ask you, in place of asking the typical questions of what is your history with this book. Although I guess I do want to know where you heard about it in the first place.
Okay.
What is your history with slasher movies?
I love slasher movies. Yeah, I love them. I've loved them since I was a child.
Have you seen every, at least one movie from each of the big gun monster men?
I think so.
You've seen a Halloween, a Friday the 13th, a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep. I don't care for a Nightmare on Elm Street, but yes.
Texas Chainsaw?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else there could be.
Scream?
I've seen Scream.
Yeah. You've seen Scream, but have you seen Two Cream? Or what would it be?
Have you seen the original Scream that actually Scream is based on? It's a German movie called Scream.
Oh, wow. No.
Not proud of myself.
But I have seen Scram 3 and Screm 4.
Yeah.
That's if you take the letters and turn them into numbers.
What about Creme 5?
And unfortunately, it seems like, it would be 5 cream.
5 cream, that's what it is. Yeah,
because
not
the
Creme
S
5.
is a 5. So it seems like 5 cream will never be made. So
yeah, damn it.
Yeah, okay. So how'd you hear about this book itself?
I'm not sure. I probably maybe similarly like social media stuff. And then I think that I saw people reading it, like maybe when I was still working at the salon. You know what I'm a little concerned about, but only a little bit? Because I think I only got I don't think I've ever gotten a straight up hot tip from being a hairdresser, seeing people read things.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of books before and then been seeing people having them in the salon, and that's confirmation to me, oh, we should read that book. I'm not going to have that anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm screwed.
Well, I mean, as screwed as I am, I guess. I never see people sitting around reading books.
It wasn't a huge thing anyway, but now I'm not going to have that. Like the next book we're reading, spoiler alert, the Magpie murders, it's not that much of a spoiler because you can see our whole calendar up on talkbomb.com/schmook. I had looked up because one of our listeners, who's one of our friends in our Facebook group, had mentioned reading it and said that she really liked it. And I was excited to read it. And then I looked it up and it was only available in the UK and Ireland. And I was super bummed about it. And I would look like every once in a while. And then I hadn't thought about it for a while. And one of my clients was reading it. I was like, wait a second, it's available in the US? Huh. That's the kind of thing that we're going to be missing out on, Will.
Maybe we could occasionally duck into the Princeton Public Library to see what people are reading in there.
Not a bad idea. I'd be more than happy. Anyway, I'm not completely sure how I found out about it. I would say probably either Twitter. I don't think I follow a lot of booky things on Instagram and or seeing people carrying it.
I straight up think it's weird that I'm on a book review show, even after 4 years. I don't follow any book blogs. I don't keep up with any other book people. The only person I talk about books with,
I don't either,
is you.
I follow, I follow Nola Expressions, who's our listener, Angelique.
Yes, that is true.
I love her. But I follow a couple authors, I guess, on Twitter. I guess that's why. And then they'll kind of like shout each other out with books that they like.
Little Stevie King?
I'm about to say Uncle Stevie recommended this highly. So that may have been where I saw it. That's not totally impossible.
Now,
and the phrase Final Girls, besides it just being a thing, like in film world, has been on my radar for years as an entertainment source because, as we talked about on, I think, the last broadcast, I know we talked about it sometime.
Yeah, the end of the Twin Peaks, Twin Peaks books show.
There was supposed to be a TV show with Jamie Lee Curtis called Final Girls, or The Final Girls, maybe.
Or Scream Queens.
No. That's what it ended up. That's what she ended up doing. But no, it was supposed to be Jamie Lee Curtis in The Final Girls about a bunch of final girls from massacres.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was so excited about it. I remember sending Will the links to it and everything. And then I would just, again, obsessively, because it would just stay in my mind because I thought it sounded so fucking freaking cool. I'm trying to curse a little less.
All right.
I don't know how it's going to go. But,
or at least just fudge the words until
they're unrecognizable as a curse word.
Yeah.
But anyway, because I thought it sounded so awesome, I kept checking to see when it was coming out, and then it just never.
I know, it kind of dropped off the map. Yeah. I was pumped about it. I thought that it was going to be some sort of Buffy the Vampire Slayer-ish show about a team of final girls who are being trained up to be able to stop some of these notorious mass murderer monster men.
Yeah, yeah.
And it seemed to me, and I may be wrong about this.
I wonder if Riley Sager knows about that being a thing.
I know.
About the show.
I know. Yeah. It's something that I definitely had in my mind too going into this book.
Yeah.
And to some extent, I think that it gave me subconsciously, I think that I had built this book up in my head to be like, oh, this thing is finally coming out.
Right.
Not officially, but like I was like, I'm going to read this and it's going to be like what that show would have been like.
Right.
Which is not the case.
Right.
But I thought that maybe the show would have been occasionally supernatural too.
Yeah.
Like maybe they'd be stopping like just like a dude who's killing people.
That hadn't occurred to me, but that sounds sweet.
But maybe they'd also be trying to take down a Jason Voorhees type monster man.
Oh, I guess in that sense it had then. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really looking forward to that. Disappeared. Then I heard about Jamie Lee Curtis on a slasher show coming back, and it was called Scream Queens, and I was really pumped about it.
Yep.
And then I found out that that guy I don't like,
Ryan Murphy
was making it.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, holy mackerel.
Uh-oh.
What's going on here?
Back up the trolley.
I think I watched one episode of it and saw John Stamos mugging.
That's the second season, even. I saw.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I definitely watched the first season where the Red Devil was the bad guy.
Yes, I remember us talking about it. Yeah.
And I couldn't stand it.
So you did see an episode of the second season?
I guess so.
Yeah. Because I think that was the thing. It was like,
Taylor Lautner was in it.
Yeah.
Is it first or second?
Second. I'm surprised you know who Taylor Lautner is. I don't know why.
He's the wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. he's the wolf man.
Yeah.
the famous movie monster
from Twilight. Yeah.
Yeah. Lon Chaney the fourth or whatever.
He wishes.
Yeah. So anyway, those were all the things that were circling around in my head prior to cracking open this book.
Right.
So let's get into our spoiler-free review of The Final Girls. And the way we start that is the way we've started every review.
That's right.
With a plot synopsis from Kristen.
That's right. Kristen Rogers Anderson.
At Chillin' Kristen.
At Chillin' Kristen on all social media. Don't add me on LinkedIn. I'm sick of getting LinkedIn emails. Do you get LinkedIn emails?
If I do, I don't know about it.
I should delete my LinkedIn. I don't even know what it says on there.
The boy who handles my mail wouldn't bring those to me.
Okay. In this world, there are 3 final girls, survivors of massacres whom, I hope that's correct, the media has dubbed as such. Correction, there were 3. The most outspoken of the bunch, Lisa, has killed herself apparently, and Quincy, a fellow final girl, is feeling depressed about it. Lisa was the only person she'd ever spoken to who could relate to her plight. Even though Quincy has no memory of the night that made her a final girl, she certainly remembers the aftermath. There was the other final girl, Sam, sure, but she hasn't been heard from in years, going into hiding to avoid the media hoopla. Or has she? Sam seeks out Quincy to band together as the final 2 final girls, and at first it's great. But things are not always as they seem, and Sam looks like she may have woven a tangled web, one that our little spider Quincy has gotten ensnared in. It's the final girls!
Wow!
Yeah.
Kristen.
Yes.
Do you recommend The Final Girls by Riley Sager?
I didn't write it out this time, so I can just tell you guys my thoughts from the heart.
Perfect.
I do recommend Final Girls by Riley Sager.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought it was addictive. Mm-hmm. I couldn't put it down. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
It scratched an itch I was looking to get scratched.
Which was what?
I was looking for like a spooky, like horror movie fall kind of thing that was twists and turns and satisfying.
Nice.
Yeah.
I also recommend The Final Girls by Riley Sager. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I certainly going into this thinking about all of the slasher movies in my head. I think at the end of the Twin Peaks show from a couple weeks back, I was literally just going like, yeah, I'm ready to watch Halloween. Yeah. It's almost, it's like basically fall at this point. I'm ready to get into slashers and stuff. Let's go. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
This is not that book.
Nope.
And at a certain point, I had to reset my expectations. Because I think what I was cracking the book open thinking was that we'd be running down hallways from a man with a knife. Running
in the night.
Yes.
In the woods.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is not what this book is at all. Mm-hmm. This book is described by Stephen King as a thriller.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I would call it that.
I would call it a thriller.
I think it's a
drama. Where did you get that impression from? What? That it would be like that? Like that there'd be like... Because even the actual description of the book is just kind of talking about her relationship with that girl, Sam.
Yeah. No, I'm not putting that onus on anyone else but myself.
Yeah.
I amped myself up thinking that this book would be something that it is not intended to be.
Right. I'm just asking, why did you even think that?
I guess because of all that baggage.
Yeah.
About the concept of the final girls.
Yeah.
I think I created this concept in my head that everyone has been like you and me, waiting for that show starring Jamie Lee Curtis to appear.
I tried to look it up actually to like say something about it. It seems to have been wiped clean from the internet. I don't understand why.
I found it at one point. I think I wrote an article about it on
I think you did. That's right. I forgot about that.
thehauntedSponge.com.
Yeah,
which
you did.
I really just need to delete. But
let's not get into it. I don't understand why you need to delete it.
Where is it? Is that article gone?
No.
Scrubbed from the face of the intranet?
Did big Jamie Lee Curtis go in and find it?
I bet that is definitely the case. Oh, here it is.
Oh, there you go.
The Final Girls, a slasher.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot
a slasher
you wrote
TV
this.
show that didn't make the cut.
Doy.
Yeah, I wrote this article.
Yeah.
Last night I decided to give Fox's horror comedy show Scream Queens a second chance, and I regret it. It is not a good show. So yeah, I found this article.
Oh, you did find something. Okay.
Yeah, I had a source at the time.
Yeah.
Which has since been deleted.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was looking before, and I know I've looked even previous to that, and I can't find it.
Thankfully, Willie quoted stuff.
Yeah.
Way back in 2013, Deadline Hollywood reported that Jamie Lee Curtis would be reteaming with Halloween H2O director Steve Miner for a new slasher show called The Final Girls. The drama revolves around a group of girls who have, in essence, survived their own personal horror stories and are brought together by a mysterious older woman, Curtis, to channel the stress and scars of their experience for some greater good.
Man, that really shows you how important an ER is. Like, if it said that they were brought together by a mysterious old woman, you'd be like, what?
Mysterious old lady.
Yeah, that old dirt really makes a difference.
Yes, I think that I had it in my head that this concept has been floating around out there in the ether.
Right.
And Riley Sager grabbed it and threw it in a book.
Totally.
And I was wrong.
Yeah.
And once I realized...
have you ever heard of the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert?
No.
So it's like a very big deal book. It was like a huge bestseller and everything. And she has a theory about ideas and writing and things like that. I don't remember. I've read it before. Whether she means, she obviously doesn't mean this completely literally, but I think she means it literally, but also kind of metaphorically in a way to think about creative ideas in writing.
Yeah.
That ideas are almost their own sentient beings or whatever. So like an idea could come to you, but if you're not ready to use it or whatever, it's going to leave and go to somebody else.
Well,
so it's
my personal experience.
Yes, exactly.
Suggests that is definitely true.
Yeah, exactly.
I was never ready for one of them and they all got made without me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't, it wasn't the right time for you or them or something.
La vie. But everyone go listen to 200 plus episodes of Will and Bobby Know Everything to find out what I mean.
Yeah, dig around in there to find the couple things Will's talking about.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So anyway, that the idea of Final Girls would be in the ether, and you thought without knowing about that big magic idea that Riley Sager had been visited by that idea and taken it on.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Has been been its sire.
Yeah, sure.
Sired by it?
Yeah. Yeah, he sired it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that is what I thought, and then it was proven to be wrong. You said it in like the weirdest possible way. You just made the same point again and said it way weirder. So anyway. This is true. So I once I scrubbed that out of my brain and I started to address the book on its own terms, I settled in to what I felt like was not a slasher, not a thriller, and more of just sort of a mystery drama about the aftermath of somebody who's been in a slasher movie, for lack of going into more detail.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think that it's obviously ramping up to something the whole time, but there are never pops of action or anything, which I was continually anticipating. There's like one big one in the middle that like the whole story kind of like pivots around.
Yeah.
But
I was making a face. That's why Will
had to reconsider my words. But I felt like it was kind of slow and steady for like the first like half of it. And then all of a sudden things start falling into place.
Yeah.
And once that moment starts happening, it's basically a roller coaster to the end. And even in the slower beginning, though it wasn't getting my like heart racing or anything, it was really enjoyable. I liked being in this world.
Yes. I would say maybe not like a thriller in the sense that you're like, but it's tense. There's like a lot of tension going on where you're like, wait, what's the deal? Who is this person?
I guess to me, those
a general
moments,
shadiness.
I understand that, but to me, those moments played almost a little bit just kind of like, oh, well, this is so weird. And then you'd be like, well, these people just aren't communicating with each other very clearly. Like it didn't feel tense to me. It felt like no one's being particularly forthright. And so all of these moments are far more tense than they should be.
I mean, certainly more Sam than Quincy. Like Quincy wasn't being forthright just in like.
Quincy is a weird character.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
But like you have a sense that something sinister is going on with Sam. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Like threatening.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm also just like, at a certain point I was like, she's slipped into your life a little too easily here.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have to be here. You're
enabling
on her part
this
too.
Weird like,
situation.
Why are you completely?
Yeah. So, suffice it to say, I definitely recommend this book.
Yep.
I just wonder if other people like me, and I've checked some reviews online and it looks like there are other people that are like, this is not really what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the book's fault, and I don't think it's the marketing's fault. I think it's like the concept
expectation
fault.
Attached to the idea of Final Girls.
I think so.
Like if you're somebody who knows horror movies and knows what Final Girls are, that you kind of might go in assuming that it's going to be a Final Girl kind of like battling her way through in some way.
Yeah, kind of.
I can see that.
Which is odd. It's like no one's fault. It's just like it doesn't have the same energy that I think a lot of people pick it up expecting.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and I'm really eager to talk about the spoiler side of it.
Great.
So for those of you who don't want to hear us ruin the plot of Final Girls, get out now.
Yeah.
Go pick up the book. Go grab it at the local library. Or B. Dalton.
Yes. Or even Walden.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or Audible.
Yes. Or Hoopla.
Yes.
However you need.
Listen to it read it, digest it, come back and enjoy the rest of this podcast episode, which will be packed with spoilers.
Yes, I listened to it. I thought the audiobook was good.
Yeah.
And I also read it because my friend Jennifer, who works at the library, snagged me a copy.
Oh, that's right.
To make sure I was on top of it, which was very nice because she listened to the show.
That is very nice.
Hey girl, hey Jennifer. Okay.
All right, here we go. Spoiler time.
Pardon the interruption. To run our show, Book Club Schmook Club needs help from our listeners. You can donate to the show by going to patreon.com/talkbomb, where you'll be able to choose a monthly donation that you feel comfortable with. As a thank you from us, you'll instantly get access to all of our bonus Between Book shows, which don't stay in our main feed. Every time a new one comes out, we bump the last one on over to Patreon. There are dozens and dozens of secret shows that you haven't had access to if you're not a donor. Doesn't that inflame your FOMO? That's fear of missing out. It's an acronym. You'll also have access to each new bonus show as it comes out, and early access to all of our book reviews. We load them onto Patreon as soon as we record them, so our donors get all of our episodes days earlier than they show up on the public feeds. Again, going to patreon.com/talkbomb and setting up a donation makes that happen, and we thank you so much for it. If you would prefer to individually purchase our bonus episodes, you can find them in our shop at talkbomb.com, where we also have stickers and bookmarks for sale. We would also really appreciate your support by leaving us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. Positive reviews help other people find our show by making podcast apps more likely to list us. It also helps validate us to people cruising around looking for something to check out. So leaving us a review is like paying it forward twofold, since it helps us and it turns someone else onto something you enjoy. And we do hope you enjoy the show, so let's get back to it.
Spoiling the final girls.
Spoilers! Spoiler no. Okay. This is actually surprisingly quick to recap. Okay, so the previous plot stuff is all true, but you know what's not true? Sam is not Sam. Then who is Phone?
Oh, God.
She's actually named Tina, right? Her real name is Tina, right?
Tina.
Okay, yeah. I got a little mixed up. There's another thing I got mixed up about that in the middle of this I'm going to have to ask you about. She's actually named Tina, and she was in the same mental institution as the supposed killer in the massacre that Quincy survived. Where is the actual Sam? Shit, I genuinely can't remember. William, what happened to the real Sam?
She is dead.
Right, but how?
She was killed by
the bad guy?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I figured, but I can't remember the circumstances
He
of
very
that.
quickly, he's just kind of like, he calls her like a fat pig or something.
That's nice.
In memory, he's like, she was like a fat slob, and she was slobbering over me. That would be weird. I guess that's poor phrasing. That's bad writing. Be like, that slob was slobbering. And he goes, so I made short work of her.
Yeah, so, okay. So I can't remember what happened to the real Sam, but Tina, who was the fake Sam posing as Sam, wants to know what really happened that night, since John, the killer, quote unquote, was a close friend of hers, and she can't wrap her head around the idea of him being violent. So after basically acting like an intense person at best and a suspicious weirdo at worst, she brings Quincy back to the scene of her worst night ever to try to jog her memory. You know who also goes there? Quincy's very close friend, the cop Coop, who rescued her that night and shot the murderer. Or did he? It turns out that he is in fact the killer, and he shoots Tina/Sam to get her out of the way. He also killed Lisa, that first final girl, who he thought might be getting close to figuring out his secret. He's kept close to Quincy all these years, not only to make sure she continues to not to remember anything, but because she's a strong survivor, and he takes pride in being the cause of her having to muster up that strength. He's in love with her and wants to be together. Gross. Oh, also he did the massacre because he has a sickness. He just loves to kill, which I find kind of lame. No real motive? Totally has all of his other faculties but just loves murder like Dexter? I find it weak. He didn't actually kill Tina because she's a survivor too, just a different kind. And I said that weird. He didn't actually kill Tina because she's a survivor too, just a different kind. And she hands Quincy a knife, which she shanks Officer Bad Boy with, and they escape. Tina has to go to jail for a while because I forgot to mention they basically collaborated on beating a drug addict into a coma, and she generously decides to take the fall. She and Quincy will stay murder pals though. But for now, Quincy has to go. She's seen the news, and there's a new final girl who needs indoctrinating.
It's funny that you, in a pre-written thing, go, oh, by the way, I forgot to write this sentence earlier.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
So,
about what? Them beating a drug addict into a coma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quincy.
Yeah.
lives with her boyfriend, has a baking blog.
Yep.
Is a final girl. 10 years ago, survived a massacre at Pine Cottage.
Pine Cottage, which is a great name.
Wonderful name.
Yeah, I love it.
Really, truly a great name.
In the Poconos. I can picture it.
She survived. Sort of was under the tutelage of, as you said, another final girl. Left her.
Yeah.
There's a third one. The first one kills herself. The third one comes back.
Right.
So now it is Quincy and Sam.
For all we know at this point that we're talking about.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Sam has just like slid into Quincy's life.
Slid into her DMs.
And is a pretty destructive influence.
Yeah.
Where Quincy is sort of like composed.
Yeah, outwardly.
On the outside.
Yeah.
Sam is definitely way more rough around the edges. She's a smoker. She's a drinker. She takes Xanax with grape soda pop.
That's Quincy.
Oh, they both do it.
Well, but she only does it because Quincy's doing it.
Kristen, don't harsh my buzz. And then they eventually go out to Central Park.
Yeah.
At 1 a.m.
Yeah, like little Kevin McAllister.
Trying to get in trouble.
Right.
They're literally setting up a scenario where Quincy is going to be like, it'll appear as if she's walking alone through Central Park at 1 a.m.
Yep.
And hopefully some guy will come up and try to attack her, mug her, anything.
Yeah.
At which point Sam will... What's the idea?
That they can both go berserker on him?
Is
and
it
like
just to blow off steam and beat up a random dude?
I think so.
Okay.
But I guess part of the thing is, I mean, it's still not right, but that it's not just like completely random dude. Like they're baiting them, but it's still kind of the kind of guy who would, exactly.
Yeah. Now this is
like Dexter.
This is an interesting concept to be dealing with.
Yeah.
In a world where slasher stories are somewhat true.
Yeah.
This does take place in a real world. We don't know. There are no stories about slashers that are superhuman or anything like that. But the idea behind most slasher movies is at a certain point, you want your hero to be ultimate good.
Yeah.
And you want most of the people who die to have some transgression that is quote unquote the crime or the excuse for which they will be murdered.
And that's acting itself out in her past in the Pine Cottage thing, because the way that the book is structured is like from her perspective as I guess it's first person in both times. But Quincy is the narrator of current day, and then the book flashes back to Pine Cottage, which she doesn't remember.
True. Yeah. She doesn't remember all of it, but she does remember that her friends, they were sitting around, they were drinking, boozing, fornicating, Kristen, if you can believe it, in the woods. And those are the crimes that most people get killed for in a slasher movie, because you're quote unquote being a bad person, or you're of poor moral fiber.
And it's her boyfriend fornicating with her best friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Yamahama.
Because she's a virgin. And she thought that she would want to go through with having sex with him that night, and she didn't end up wanting to.
Right.
And then he goes and hooks up with Janelle.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm saying all of this is because we're still living in this world.
Yeah.
And the final girls, at the time that they became the final girls, it seems that they were of that like better character.
Yeah.
And yet now, a decade since.
Right.
They have now succumbed to those other temptations.
Or it's not even like succumbing to temptations. It's just a response to trauma and PTSD.
Yeah, I have. See, this is one of those things where it's like, this is a little bit of a meddling kids type thing that I've got. Where it's like, we'll eventually see, and I'll get back to the mugging thing in 5 hours. But eventually we're going to like see at the end that Quincy is watching TV and there's another slasher thing has happened. And she immediately flies out because there's a new final girl.
Yeah.
And it really begins to, first of all, I think it struck me as odd initially that there are only 3 final girls and they're called the final girls.
Yeah.
And people, strangers will know them by the name the final girls.
Yeah.
It's weird that there are only 3. I would think there might be more.
Very many massacres of that ilk.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
Once I realized, like, okay, it's supposed to be somewhat real world-ish, then it is kind of weird that there are 3 because that seems like a good amount. And then for there to be a 4th one conveniently at the end starts to make it feel like this world is almost like how in Haddonfield, Illinois, Mike Myers comes back every few years on Halloween. There's just
like a hyper-violent world or something. Yeah, where like these things happen.
Frequent massacres.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what I guess you're never supposed to treat this book as anything other than a real exploration of real trauma. Mm-hmm. But it is also weird that it also exists in this somewhat fantasy world, this heightened reality.
Right, but it's just kind of like, what if the world was like this? What would people be doing in it?
Yeah. If our world suddenly was.
Yeah.
But anyway, the other thing that I wanted to explore about the way that people usually act in stories like this, and this is not necessarily a slasher thing, but if you have a protagonist that does something that is transgressive and evil,
right,
there will also be some element of their crime that the audience is meant to find perfectly understandable. So that it's like, well, we understand you did something wrong, but we know you're good deep down in your heart.
Yeah.
You know? I can't think of a good example off the top of my head, but there are plenty of movies where the main character who you like does something bad for a perfectly reasonable reason.
Yeah, there was a mix-up.
And yet, in this.
Like, it's like there's a couple and they have a really big fight or something, and then the girl's feeling really rejected and she goes and makes out with somebody else. And like, you get it because
and it's horrible.
She had this horrible fight and she was feeling really vulnerable and upset or whatever.
And but not only was she in that vulnerable state and everything, the bad thing she did was still, it was bad, but it was still just making out.
Exactly.
So it's it's not even that far.
Right. So it's not even that bad.
You can completely feel comfortable about still liking them.
Yep. Like Ross being on a break.
Yes. They were on a break.
Yep.
So says Ross.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think they were on a break.
It doesn't sound good to me. Never did.
Me neither.
But we'll have to talk about Ross again soon, of course. In this, Quincy is the bait.
Yeah.
For some guy to whatever.
Steal her bag of books.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the second time that yields the craziest results, but they do it before.
True.
Yeah.
And a guy walks up to her, and it's this like tweakery homeless guy.
Yeah.
Who just goes like, "Hey, do you have any money or food or anything?" And she goes, "No.
Yeah.
I don't." And he goes, "Really? You sure you don't have there's nothing in your bag?" And she goes, "What did I say?" She I feel like she gets pretty aggro on him, and he walks away. She says something else weird to him, and he walks away and he calls her a bitch or something.
Yeah.
And then she squares up. Goes like, "What'd you say to me?"
Yeah.
She initiates the entire battle.
Yeah,
From
totally.
concept phase.
Yeah.
We're going to try to catch someone.
Yeah.
Through to he was walking away.
Right. Well, they had done not even a test. They weren't planning to put somebody into a coma or whatever.
No.
But they'd done it the night before, a couple nights before or something. And somebody did try it. There was a, legit bad guy who was trying to steal from them or something. And they got to kick his ass or whatever. And it felt really good. So I think she was looking for that same kind of high the second time.
Yeah. So she
justifying. I'm just saying, I think that because there had been a bad guy where she's like, see, this proves it. There are assholes out there who are willing to they take this bait because everybody's out to get us or whatever. And
I understand it.
Yeah.
But then what they have her do, what the author has her do is pounce on this guy and beat him up, beat him to, I guess, literally a pulp.
Yeah.
He is comatose.
Yeah.
She puts him in a coma.
Yeah.
Her friend Sam has to pull her off the guy.
Right.
Her knuckles are bleeding. She's covered in his blood.
Yeah.
And some of her own.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, I have no idea what happened."
Yeah.
And from that moment, I was just always kind of like, of course I sympathize. But also.
Oh, totally.
Oh my God.
Also, how did her live-in boyfriend not notice?
I'm very skeptical about some of the police work.
Actually, I think the police were, except for the bloody knuckles problem.
She's sitting in a detective's office the next day.
The police
They leave
was
the
decent.
purse in the freaking forest. And then a cop.
The forest.
Central Forest.
Yeah.
Central Forest in New York City. The Big Apple.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You're saying that as there's a forest and
Just
an
forget
apple.
what I said before.
Yeah.
So, a cop calls her into her office and she's sitting there covering her hands any which way she can.
I know.
Thinking she's getting away with it.
Besides that, they seem pretty good though. They did follow up work and stuff.
Peculiar
to say the least. I think I would notice instantly if Ryan had like bloody knuckles. There's no way I wouldn't notice that.
That would be the weirdest thing to not notice. It only works because it's a book, I think.
Yeah.
Because you can't see the way they're sitting in a room together.
Right.
If you and I are talking right now and I beat a man to death last night,
I'd know.
You'd notice.
Yeah, I'm looking at those piggies right now.
Oh, these piggies.
They're soft and lovely.
A little too soft. Been sitting behind a desk for too long. So, how did you feel about her at that point? Does she cross the line from being yes, you're still my protagonist. I'm still rooting for you. Or are you a little bit like, it's not even gray area.
Yeah. A little bit that, but I also felt kind of bad for her in a way.
Sure, it can be both.
Yeah, I was like, man, like she's got a lot going on in that cabeza, and she just did this thing, and like she must be like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? What am I capable of? There's like all this shit that I haven't let out, and like what my world is turned upside down. So yeah, I was kind of like, yikes, Quincy.
Yeah.
The
book is set up like a mystery.
I still had empathy for her though. I was still with her. I was not hot on Sam this whole time.
No, neither was I.
I was like, Sam's got to go. If Sam didn't come here, none of this would have happened.
Through to the end, I don't like
me
Sam.
neither.
No.
Something would have happened with Quincy because it's true. She did have all this stuff beneath the surface and it had been manifesting itself mainly just in her doing random, stealing. Like weird kleptomania.
Yeah.
But not really anything else. And I'm sure she, would have had to work out some things. But I don't think without Sam's guidance and influence would she have beat somebody to almost death in the middle of the night in Central Park.
Oh, absolutely not. She wouldn't have been there in the middle of the night in Central Park.
I still felt, even though I was like, God, that's horrible, I still was with Quincy and felt kind of bad for her. And I was like, dude, Sam's got to go now. I'm done with her.
The entire novel is set up like a mystery.
Yeah.
Because the slasher events, the mass murdering happened at Pine Cottage 10 years ago.
Yep.
Quincy was the only survivor, but she doesn't remember all of that night.
Yeah.
And there start to be questions about what really happened that night.
Yeah.
Did it ever strike you that Quincy was the murderer?
Yeah, but I couldn't work out how it could be. So I definitely
it seemed plausible though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were points where I was like, so did she do it? Like, especially when she beat the hell out of that guy. Yeah. I was like, so she's capable of much more than we had thought. Interesting.
Later in the book, she secretly travels to the house of the first final girl who was found dead, believed to have killed herself, later found to have been murdered.
Right.
And she steals evidence and burns it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, Quincy isn't quite as cut and dry as I thought.
Not a good person.
And also anybody can turn out, there are tons of killers who seem very charming and everything, but you basically with the flashbacks at Pine Cottage, you go into them knowing that there was an escaped patient from a mental institution who they say is the killer.
Yeah.
And they go to the cottage and this guy, John, shows up who's like, he's like, my car broke down or something like that. I can't remember what the deal is. Like he's there for some not escaping from a mental institution reason or whatever. So you're like, oh, okay, so this is the killer.
Right.
And then during these flashbacks, I was like, obviously anything could happen. He could snap, but John seems just like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And that coincided deliberately, I'm sure, with Quincy seeming more and more unhinged. So you're like, so John actually seems pretty nice in this flashback.
And Quincy
seems really bonkers in the flash forward parts. Maybe Quincy's the killer and it got pinned on John.
Yeah.
So I definitely thought that at one point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I did not see the actual killer coming at all.
Neither did I. It's a big problem for me.
Yeah. I didn't see it coming at all, which I was surprised by because in hindsight, I'm like, oh yeah, there are so many tropey things that are there. It's somebody who was close to her. She slept with him and then found out afterward, which is Scream and other things. But for some reason, it didn't even occur to me.
Well, there's something going on in this book where it's trying too hard. It's funny. This book makes me think a lot about meddling kids. And I think in many ways, it is an example of how to do the concept of meddling kids better. Not literally the concept. It's not trying to do the same type of story.
I felt the same way. It reminded me of it a little bit.
Yeah. The fact that it's very steeped in pop culture. I think that's why I brought so much baggage in. It's hard to think about. Her name is Quincy Carpenter.
Yeah.
That's a John Carpenter reference.
Yeah.
He's dwelling on stories about slashers and referencing slashers in it.
Oh, I meant to look it up. Were there any other Easter eggs that you noticed like that? Whether they're names or something else, like Carpenter, stuff like that. Were there any other Easter eggs?
I mean, if there were, I wasn't really tuned into them.
Yeah,
I mean, Coop is probably Special Agent Dale Cooper.
I don't even know now.
From Twin Peaks.
I don't think so. We said that when we read the summary of it at first. I think it was kind of just because we were in Twin Peaks world. There's no parallel whatsoever except that he's a cop.
No, not in his character, but a name is a reference.
Maybe,
the fact that he's a cop. I mean, here's something.
Yeah.
One of my theories of that slasher trilogy that I've been wanting to watch for 5 years and for some reason haven't.
Right.
Of Psycho, Halloween,
suggested we do it,
Scream.
and you're like, nah.
It's too good. I don't want it. What if it stinks? What if it doesn't pan out? What if there aren't enough
so what?
things? Yeah, then I will have just wasted my time watching 3 of my favorite movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway. Kristen, God. So in Psycho, Sam Loomis, his character, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He helps catch the bad guy.
Right.
In Halloween, Sam Loomis is a good guy. He's a weird good guy, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And he stops the bad guy.
Yeah.
In Scream, Billy Loomis, he's the boyfriend.
Not so good.
And he seems really guilty.
Yeah.
But he seems so guilty that they're trying to distract us with him. Yeah. He's definitely going to be a good guy. Loomis is always a good guy. Always the bad guy.
Yeah.
It was never a misdirect. It was trilogy. Always the bad guy.
Yeah.
So names are references. I wonder if Coop.
Do you think he actually? I never thought that Billy seemed suspicious in Scream. Really.
The point of Scream is that you're supposed to think he's so suspicious that he couldn't possibly be the guy.
I didn't find him suspicious.
He gets arrested like 20 minutes into the movie. He spends most of the movie behind bars. People constantly talk about how creepy he is. That's like a dead giveaway to me that he's not. That is what?
That he's not the bad guy.
Well, no, that's the point. You're supposed to think he couldn't possibly be the bad guy.
I'm sorry. Yes, that is what I mean. I'm sorry. I'm getting mixed up. I'm thinking about too many things.
But so Coop in this book, he's the cop that helped stop the massacre 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You're supposed to think of him as being the Sam Loomis type character. And I did. Yeah. And even we'll find out later that the first final girl, Lisa, also has the cop that helped her catch him. And she also became a big friend of hers in her life. And it's like
Nancy.
These pods of psycho slashers play out in the same way. Group of kids killed. Final girl goes free, gets saved by the pivotal cop. And the two of them become friends forever. Sam Loomis and Laurie Strode become friends forever. Sydney and Dewey become friends forever. Coop and Quincy become friends forever. And his name's Coop. Special Agent Dale Cooper. He's a good guy.
I don't know about that.
And he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to, not intentionally, he's not trying to hit you over the head with it and be like, he's just like Coop, he's just like Coop, he's just like Coop.
Yeah.
But I think that it's, if you're looking for references about murder mysteries and slashers and crime stories, Coop is a positive force in pop culture. In the ether, in the air.
But he's not in the slasher genre. I just don't think it's there well.
There's another cop named Cole. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's definitely a Twin Peaks reference.
All right, now that you say that, then I think it is.
So weird for it to not be a Twin Peaks reference.
Yeah, totally. Well, Cooper's kind of a common name.
I know, but he's a cop.
Now that you say there's Cole, which you're right, and I didn't notice it then, yes, 100%.
Yeah. So Coop ends up to be the bad guy. At the end.
What did you think about that?
I didn't think it was very good.
Right? I felt the same way.
I
just, that excuse of like, or that reason, I guess I should say, or motivation of just like, it's just something I like to do. I can't help myself. It's so just like.
I like being bad. It suits me. That was Kristen's improved line for Topher Grace to say in Spider-Man 3 while I was wearing the Venom suit.
Because it's a suit. Yeah, it's a suit. It suits me. He puts on the suit and he becomes bad. The suit is like what makes him bad.
Yeah.
And so the actual line is, I like to be bad. It feels good.
Yeah. Lame.
It suits me.
It suits me.
Duh. Oh, it drives me crazy.
I'm with you.
Thank you.
In like the past week, I watched It. It Follows. And Split. How weird is that?
That's weird.
Whatever.
Split. That's, oh no.
Split.
You know what I was thinking of?
M. Night Shyamalan.
No, I still want to see that.
It was great.
I was thinking of Splice. Do you know what that is? That's like from, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. It's like some sci-fi thing where there's like a little, like, alien person.
Oh, I was thinking of Species. Where it's from like 10 or 15 years ago, where it's a little.
I think that's even longer ago. I think it's
sex
like
alien.
20 something. Well, I think that they have sex with the alien in Splice or something. It's like.
Everyone stop fooling around with aliens.
I know. You gotta stop.
Get control of yourselves.
Jeez.
So. What I was going to say about this book. Being very similar to Meddling Kids
Yeah.
is that they're both playing off of a very, very popular pop culture topic. And then doing something new and different with it.
Yeah.
Meddling Kids did Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
And sort of the like crime capery supernatural story. This is doing the slasher thing.
Yeah.
But it's weird that this is so real. And then there are these moments in Final Girls where I'm like, this feels like it should feel campier. This feels like it should be more heightened. The
thing did feel that way to me. And it reminded me of a Scooby-Doo kind of thing, actually. Yeah.
It's weird that they treat it so real. Right. And then she'll like ride out in the sunset to go save another final girl.
Right.
Which is a campy concept.
Yes.
But the book is so real.
I know.
I
felt that way too. It was a little dissonant. Yeah.
So, Coop.
Yeah.
Cooper is the bad guy.
Who, P.S. It was just me, same as you being like, oh, I don't know where it came from. I just brought baggage in. I guess I did from something. I thought Coop was like, until like a little bit later, like when Sam says he's hot or something. And even after that, I thought she just like was into him anyway. I thought he was like an old man. I really genuinely did.
You read this book twice.
What? No, I didn't.
I thought you did. You said that you did partial audio, partial reading. Okay.
Yeah. No. No, I thought he was like an old, like grandfatherly type. And then when Sam was like, don't act like you haven't noticed Coop is hot, I was like, she probably doesn't think of him like that.
You mean me?
And I was like, I guess just because Sam's like the bad girl, like she has kind of like a weird like daddy issue attraction or something, like a bad girl kind of thing.
He's eating soup.
I didn't think he was like, I didn't think he was like way old, but I thought it was like, I don't know, old enough that you wouldn't necessarily go there in your mind right away.
Can't take my eyes off of him.
But yeah, when Sam's like, oh, he's hot, I was like, well, that's weird. This character really is strange. And then
oh, she's a sicko.
That's really kind of weird. And then when it became clear that Quincy has an attraction too, I was like, you know what? I'm starting to think Coop isn't an old man.
He's described as being like super muscular.
I thought he was like a muscular old man.
What? Like a Jack LaLanne?
I didn't think he was that old.
What the hell?
I thought he was like in his 60s or something.
No.
Yeah, and I was wrong.
No.
So when Quincy started to be like, I guess I've been denying some feelings, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I think I missed something.
There's a weird thing this book does with layering mysteries and misdirects and red herrings.
It's a little packed with that.
They come too fast at the end, especially. But like what I was saying before in the spoiler-free side is like, there's so much just kind of like passive sitting around and talking for the first like at least half, it seems like.
I didn't feel that way.
Yeah, I felt like that maybe this is not literally page count wise a giant chunk, but it sure felt like they were baking pumpkin cakes for a really long time and having conversations with each other, Sam and Quincy, that just felt not real. And so I was like, what is happening? At a certain point, Quincy and Sam are like hanging out, and they've been hanging out for like an hour.
Like no time. Yeah, they get close real fast.
Yeah. And Quincy mentioned something about her boyfriend, Jeff.
Yeah.
And Sam says, am I ever going to get to meet this Jeff?
I know. And
I was like,
maybe. I don't know. Maybe we should see if we're friends yet.
Yeah. I mean, am I ever going to see you again?
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
I assumed I was meeting you for lunch.
I guess it's like they're in some sort of like fraternal order inherently.
Yeah, but that's a problem with the premise.
Yes.
There's only 3 of them.
Right.
And they never were a thing together.
Right.
It seems like if there was a falling out, it was instant.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like there's a falling out. It seems like Quincy just wasn't interested because she was trying to be like, I moved on. I don't want to be steeped in Final Girls dumb because I want to live a life that's different from that.
True.
So I don't even think that there was like a falling out. And it sounds like Sam just like
nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
Never started.
Right.
And so Sam shows, and I understand that there can be this unspoken bond for these two people who, it's at least concocted at this point to seem like they have suffered a similar trauma in their past, and maybe they'll bond quickly that way. But it seemed like the actual dialogue was structured in such a way that I was like, this does not feel right.
Yeah.
And then immediately Sam is staying with them. And like, just like, what is going on?
I felt that way too, but I guess I was just like, I guess it's like if you have a cousin or something, like, and you felt obligated. I wouldn't. I was like, I don't know.
I immediately put myself in the shoes of being like, I've had lunch with someone.
Yeah.
And then they're like, so am I ever going to get to meet Allie? I would just be like,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, maybe later. Move on. Because no, I don't. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's weird.
This may be the last time we ever meet.
Yeah.
From my perspective.
Yeah. Totally. I know. I was very surprised that like they like it was like inherent. Like, yeah, we're gonna hang out again.
It was weird.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about. It seemed like Sam came into the relationship.
Yeah.
Like loaded.
Yeah.
Being like, I know what being a final girl really is all about. Yeah. And you're sitting here in your apartment and you're playing make-believe.
Yeah.
And you're playing home ec in here.
Yeah.
And it's all bull crap.
Yeah.
Bull junk.
Bull hockey.
Bull stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you how wrong you are.
Yeah.
And then Quincy goes, no, I do this like baking blog and it's really therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
And then Sam goes, oh yeah? Yeah, show me. Why don't you bake something right now? And I was like, oh, there's going to be some sort of like a test and it's going to erupt as like Sam being like, see, this is nothing. This is meaningless.
Right.
And then they have a really nice time baking together.
Sam's like, this is nice. Yeah.
It's like, what is this?
I know.
It was the first and maybe only time in the entire book that I was like, what am I reading? I know why I'm reading it because I have to. But what am I reading?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about this. And then thankfully, after that moment, it's never like that again.
Yeah.
And I was like, then that's a weird anomaly. That's a very strange meet cute, I guess.
I don't know. I didn't think it was that weird.
Really?
Not really.
It's very strange.
No. I don't remember thinking it was that weird, so I must not have.
But it starts this like really intense relationship that they have. Where they're constantly like when Sam,
like worst friendship ever.
Yeah, when
so
Sam
tense.
asks the question, "Am I ever going to get to meet Jeff?"
Yeah,
Quincy has a moment to herself where she goes, "Well, I know what that question really means. It's will you be around long enough to get to meet him?"
Yeah, right.
In another way, you're asking, "Are you and I friends right now?"
Yeah.
The answer to all three questions is yes. It's like, well, that's a very intense internalization of that question.
Yeah.
You're very intense too.
Oh, totally.
You're both so intense. And they're never perfectly clear with each other.
Yeah.
They're constantly pushing each other and needling each other and second guessing each other. They put a guy in the hospital together.
Yep.
And then...
And like, oh, you know what I thought was gonna be a thing, but then it wasn't, which is fine. There was enough else going on. When Sam took all her clothes after Quincy like beat the shit out of that guy and then she had blood all over her clothes. Like Sam knew exactly what to do. She was like, okay, we need to go to a water source. We need to clean you up.
Yeah.
We need to whatever. And then when they got home, her clothes were full of blood and she was like, here, I'll take care of these. There were a few times where I thought that it was gonna be like, she was gonna hold something, almost like a blackmail her basically into friendship with the clothes or something about the murder.
I mean,
she kind of does, but she just kind of like but there's not like a literal item where she's like, well, I guess she does.
It's the information. It's the knowledge.
She's like, remember Quincy. Yeah, you're right.
My secrets are your secrets.
There's something else I'm trying to there was something else I'm trying to get at that but no, I thought she was going to be like, you know those clothes I took care of? I didn't. They have yours and that hobo's blood all over them or whatever.
And now my DNA too, because I've been keeping them.
Correct. I don't remember. It's okay.
Well, anyway, what I was going to say is like all of these like compounded red herrings where it's like, oh, Quincy was the murderer 10 years ago. No, wait a minute. Sam's really weird. Yeah. Sam was the murderer. Yeah. Wait, Sam seems like she killed Lisa. Yeah. Okay, Sam's being really weird.
I was trying to work it out. She
definitely killed Lisa.
I fully thought she killed Lisa. I was trying to work it out and how maybe she could be the murderer in Pine Cottage. I was like, but how? Why?
I know.
Yeah.
And then I had a moment
Which is fine. I mean, that's sweet.
I had a moment where not knowing that the suspected murderer at Pine Cottage died that night, I was like, is this meddling kids?
Oh.
Is she the guy?
Oh, I never thought that.
I thought that and I was like, could it be? Because otherwise, why are we doing all this if she's not the bad guy? We're going like a really long way to point a lot of fingers at her for it to not be her.
You're reminding me. I guess I thought at a certain point that she felt that, I definitely thought this, that she felt that Quincy had robbed her of fame, because they reiterated that Quincy, Lisa, and Sam were all supposed to go on Oprah together. Yeah. And Quincy pulled out because she was like, I can't do this or whatever. And it was going to be Sam's first and only, well, I mean, only to date, first public appearance or whatever. And then when Quincy pulled out because it wasn't all three of the final girls, the whole deal fell apart. I thought for a lot of it that Sam was really pissed that she didn't get to have the notoriety of being a public final girl in the way that she was expecting to, and was getting back at Quincy because of that.
Interesting, because she does also stage moments in photo ops.
Yes, exactly.
So that they can be published.
Right, that was part of why I thought it. I was like, okay, so she wanted this notoriety and everything, and Quincy screwed her out of it, and now this is going to be her getting back at her, so she's going to sleep with her boyfriend. Oh yeah, I thought she was going to sleep with her boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
Not Coop. So it was a single white female kind of situation. That's what happens in that. And I had a feeling that was going to happen, but because Coop was off my radar because I thought he was Grampy Coop, I thought it was going to be her boyfriend, Jeff. So yeah, I thought
I slept with your boyfriend. You thought Coop was my boyfriend? That was a very nice evening, young lady.
Gross. I thought
that was a crackerjack night.
Oh my God. I thought it was all jealousy driven for a huge chunk of it. I thought it was jealousy and
that's a very Scream-esque motive.
Yes, which I like.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not it. Even when we find out that Sam has secretly been traveling all over the country, and she did kill her own stepfather or something. And she was present in Lisa's house.
He molested her though, so.
No, I know, but she killed a guy.
Yeah, she did kill a guy.
And so there's a murder in her past.
Yes.
And we know that she was at Lisa's house, the first final girl who was a staged suicide. So we're like, oh, she was there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are they going to have her be in that house?
Same, I know.
And be innocent?
Right.
How is this going to be possible at all?
Right.
And then Quincy, she goes to that lady's house.
Yeah.
And is, snooping around in there.
Yeah, big time.
Weird.
Yeah.
And finds a safe.
And isn't it, do I remember this right? Is it the cop lady who lets her in?
Yes.
Yeah. Why doesn't she keep a little bit of a tighter eye on her?
I know. She's a cop. Yeah, right?
She's just allowed to go take everything and then burn it.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
And so, she sees this safe and sees that it's been cracked open because she sees the scratch marks around the keyhole,
which are the same scratch marks that had been in her house because her drawer of pilfered goods. Yeah. Sam got into that with telltale scratch marks.
And she goes, these are the same scratch marks. Bam. This is my evidence. Sam was here. And I thought that was awesome.
Totally.
And they talk about how the night that Lisa died, she was drinking wine. The wine was drugged.
Yeah.
But later she was found in the bathtub with her wrists slit.
Yeah.
There was a second wine glass. They can tell because of the stain on the table because somebody doesn't respect wood.
Right. Didn't use a coaster.
And it's believed that maybe the murderer took their wine glass with them, and maybe they smashed it on the ground.
Yeah.
Now, when Quincy goes to that house, she takes some of the stuff out of the safe that's about her, concerns her, Quincy, and the murder at Pine Cottage.
Right.
Drives away and parks at a spot where she stands outside of her car and burns all the evidence and looks down on the ground and sees a smashed glass thing. Yeah. And she thinks to herself, for all I know, that is the wine glass.
Yeah.
That the murderer threw there.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, Quincy doesn't remember stuff occasionally. She's been here before.
Yeah.
She drove to this exact spot.
Right, exactly.
She smashed the wine glass, and now she's burning the evidence here.
Yes.
And she says cryptic things to herself where she's like, I know what I have to do next.
Yeah, totally.
But first I burn the evidence.
There is a lot of I know what I have to do.
It's kind
of like I'm on autopilot. Yeah. My brain is telling me what has to be done.
Yes.
On just a logical level. No emotion or thought. This is what needs doing.
Which is very cool.
Completely.
Having read some Agatha Christie novels, and I won't say the one, we may know of an unreliable narrator.
Yes.
And this felt very much like a moment that was a nod toward that.
Totally.
Maybe we don't trust Quincy. Maybe she does travel. Maybe she secretly came here.
Right.
Which is cool.
Totally.
Really, really cool.
Oh, yeah.
But so all of these things compounded against each other.
Yep.
And then we end up back at Pine Cottage.
Yep.
Which is now like a rotted out husk of its former self, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I always love things like that.
I'm hoping, and I think it might because it's such a hit. I smell movie. I would like to see it. I would. There was something I was thinking about that I was thinking that would look really cool. I know. For some reason, I was picturing her beating the shit out of that guy, and this like perfect woman like wailing on somebody, like Reese Witherspoon going ham. Like,
yeah, I guess I see more of a mini series. Because
well, even so, that'd be cool.
For this, I don't like a slasher movie done quickly.
Yeah.
I've learned through reading this book. All the flashbacks to Pine Cottage when they're sitting around, and it's all this shorthand for like slasher movie tropes.
Yeah.
Where it's like these kids are friends, but they're really kind of nasty to each other.
Yeah.
And one of them is being like, well, I'm preparing to lose my virginity tonight. And they're like, well, we're going to hit a bong. Yeah. And I'm like, these things are all done so quickly and in such a perfunctory, this is what happens in a slasher movie fashion. If you did this book as a movie, that stuff would have to be condensed even further, and it would lack any of the impact.
I get that.
Going back to Pine Cottage is fun because I always like when a story returns to its beginning.
Well, that's what made me think of it just now and be like, oh, I wonder if there'll be a movie or something, because I think it's really cool that they went back to Pine Cottage.
I always really enjoy that.
And it's very slasher movie kind of thing.
Absolutely. But the fact that the Pine Cottage story is so little of this, I don't want it to be in a movie. It wouldn't be satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be like, wow, we're finally back. When it's like, well, yeah, we spent about 3 minutes here.
Yeah, right.
Ever. But so they go back.
Movies are long now. I bet there could be some time spent.
Too long.
I agree. But if it's something that I like, then I'm like, I can tuck in.
Yeah. Hey, it was really great.
Oh, good.
The movie.
I'll watch it at home. I don't want an immersive experience in the theater.
It is the best version of that story ever.
Really?
Yeah. It's better than the book. It's better than the Tim Curry version.
Cool.
It is the best version of it.
Cool.
Reminds me of The Shining.
Really?
As in terms of like The Shining movie is to The Shining book.
Right.
As It the movie is to It the book.
Except that The Shining book rules and It the book drools.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Meaning that I think the movie took a lot of liberties and added a whole ton of stuff that wasn't in the book. Changed stuff and dropped some stuff that didn't make sense, and much better.
I'm actually really looking forward to seeing it, but I don't want to see it in the theaters. It's like too much for me. But even though Pennywise kind of looks like he's from Hot Topic.
Yeah.
Even though the part where he's running towards somebody, he's like,
I'm seeing people, there's some backlash now because that movie did gangbusters. It was
fast back and forth is what I just did.
He was like, running towards somebody.
Even that would be scarier if he made that, if he made that mouth noise. That's like a weird clown. In this, he's just like,
he's not very clown-like.
Yeah.
There are problems.
Yeah.
For sure. But like a lot of the special effects and the weirdness of it, sometimes people complained about special effects, I've noticed.
Yeah.
In the movie. But to me, because Pennywise is such like a weird magical being, the sort of artificial gleam of the special effects makes him just look otherworldly to me.
Huh, okay.
It just makes him look more impossible.
Okay.
He doesn't jive with the settings he's in all the time. And that works to their benefit.
I mean, that sounds cool.
I really liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could see this as a mini series because I do think that at its heart, this book is more of a drama that has a lot of elements of horror and thriller and stuff. But at the crux of it, it's very much about this intense life.
Yeah.
This woman who suffered a horrendous ordeal is living in the aftermath. But so
I can see that.
All these events are now falling in on themselves.
Yeah.
And she's remembering the real events that happened.
Right.
10 years ago.
Yeah, because she's back at the place that they happened. So it's jogging stuff.
Love it. Walking from room to room and being like, the last time I was in this room 10 years ago, this event happened. I can't be in here right now. I can't be in here right now.
Yeah.
Have to move into the next room. And she's like, I'm standing where I stood 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I love those moments. I love those. And she remembers what really happened.
Yeah.
Which stinks.
Yeah.
What really happened was she mostly didn't see anything.
Exactly. She sees what happened, but you don't know what happened.
No.
Really? Because she didn't really see all that much.
This book is written first person.
There's just like killing happening all of a sudden from some direction.
Yes. This is a first person narrative.
Yeah.
And I personally don't enjoy them.
I feel the same way.
I think that part of what is supposed to be appealing about them is that since we're stuck in your head, we only see things from your point of view.
Yep.
So a bunch of stuff is going on out there, but we'll never really see it. We'll only see the thin slice of it that you interacted with.
Right.
But I never enjoy that.
For an unreliable narrator thing, you need that.
Yeah, I guess, yes, you do.
You know?
Yeah, true.
Because you don't want objectivity then.
Right. But if there's so many red herrings in this that if you took out the fact that she herself is a red herring.
Right.
And made it third person and just had it be like Quincy walked into the room.
Yeah.
And as if it were still happening now, she saw the dead body of her friend lying on the bed in front of her.
Yeah.
Suddenly memories rushed. Like, it'd be more exciting.
Yeah.
And he could be like, the killer was creeping in through the room, watched her staring in the corner. And we had this dramatic irony of something's going on that Quincy's not aware of.
Yeah.
Like, that's what horror is.
Yeah.
It's watching somebody who's unaware of what's really going on and they're creeping up behind him. And we can't ever have that moment in here. We can just have her be like, I'm in a room and the door is closed.
Yeah.
And I sure hear a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, okay. And then she eventually remembers that she ran into the living room and saw that guy, that nice guy who had John.
Yeah.
He's crouched next to a dead body.
Yeah.
Making weird whimpering sounds.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
Right.
This is a horrible thing.
Yeah, totally.
There's a knife beside him on the ground.
Yeah.
Gleaming black, fresh with blood.
Yeah.
He turns and he sees Quincy and he stands and he raises the knife over his head.
Yeah.
And the thing that she remembers, because she remembered seeing her attacker threatening her with a knife. She remembers now the fear in his eyes. For he did not know.
Right.
Who had been committing these heinous murders.
Exactly.
So he was trying to defend himself.
Yeah.
That's a great twist.
Yeah, it is a great twist.
But then what happened is she started running away from him, running through the woods.
Right.
And now she remembers.
Yeah.
I saw this guy in the woods. He was a cop.
Yeah.
And he was covered in blood.
Right. And she assumed that the blood that was on her dress and all over her, because like transferred to him or something in her memory.
No, she remembered seeing him as being already covered with blood. And then when she ran up to him and like grabbed him to be like, get me out of here, it was blood on blood.
No. On her, in her real life, like current day memory, she remembered him being covered in blood.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he was Cooper, who eventually masquerades as if he's saving the day.
Right.
Had been walking around murdering a bunch of people, got covered in blood.
No, I know. It doesn't matter, this detail. Anyway, yes.
And that's not satisfying at all.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Not into it.
And then the fact that he shows up in present day.
I know.
Just as she remembers it.
Like, why did he go there?
Fires a bullet.
He just had a sense.
And he kills Sam. Well, we think he kills Sam.
Right.
And then he gives her the grand villain monologue.
Yeah, totally.
Which is the least grand villain monologue I've ever heard, where he's like, I've always liked to kill.
I know.
I did it before.
That is John Lovitz.
Yeah, it is. And I never did it again.
That's a terrible
until last week.
Apparently he's like a sexy guy now.
Yeah, I am. So he explains that he's a sick nut.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I killed 3 people prior to that night.
And wasn't it like he kind of like he killed somebody by accident, sort of, or like in the line of duty, and he was like, say
something
that like felt that. Good. And so it made him realize that he liked killing. He
was getting his jollies one night.
Right.
And he committed murder most foul. I know that.
Yeah.
Decode that, everyone.
I don't remember. Yeah.
So
I just remember the very, very first time was like not for murder nor jollies.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then he talks about how he thinks he was in love with her from the jump.
Yeah.
That night. Here's a weird thing we didn't talk about at all.
What?
10 years ago that night, the reason this all happened is because Quincy was going to finally sleep with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
She got panicked or worried or overthought the moment or whatever, just didn't want to.
Yeah.
And he then went out and slept with her friend.
Yeah.
And her response was immediately to be like, I got to get out of here. I can't be around these people. I hate these people.
Yeah.
And then she suddenly was like, oh my gosh, why am I holding a knife? She was holding a big murder knife. And she was going to go murder her friends.
Oh.
And then she ran into
John. That's right.
And he goes, you don't want to do this. Don't do this.
That's right. That's right. And he's like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, so she was going to murder her friends.
What the hell's up with
that?
Then
she decided to get her freak on instead.
So this was before anything.
Right.
This was way before any, like, blacking out, beating up a homeless guy.
She's has not been well.
Ever.
Yeah.
Apparently ever.
Yeah.
So Coop
That's right. I forgot about
had been watching them.
Yeah.
And he decided that he saw why she was so upset.
Yeah.
He saw her boyfriend and her best friend doing it on a rock.
Yeah.
And he said,
worst place to do it, P.S.
Let's climb on that big rock up there. And he knew exactly what to do. He's I'm going to kill all of them.
Yeah.
And he decided he loved her. He was in love with her. And then he stabbed her in the shoulder a couple times and the tummy.
Uh-huh.
And then saved her life.
Yeah. Well, I guess was that to make it look like, she was, so she wouldn't look too suspicious?
No.
Or just because he wanted to stab her?
Yes.
Okay.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
It seems like he saw her as being somebody who needed to be protected.
Right.
So he was going to save her from her horrible friends and kill them all.
Right.
But then he also says, maybe he's like,
but she's so
I'm going to kill literally all of you.
Yeah.
So he stabs her, but she survived. And then he saw her running through the woods at him, and he was like, you know what? She's tough.
Yeah.
So he let her live.
Yeah.
But that then doesn't jive with the fact that he saw her initially looking upset and was like, I need to turn her frown upside down.
Is that what happened? I really don't remember that.
I listened to it twice.
Okay. Yeah.
Just to make sure
I
understood.
Okay.
And I still only
I'm glad that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says that he saw her being upset and he knew why she was upset and he was going to make
I remember that.
He was going to make it right.
Right.
Then he stabs her a few times.
I didn't remember the thing about why he stabbed her, though. I guess
because he's a murderer.
Yeah. All right. So he would turn her frown upside down and then leave that frown upside down forever?
Yeah.
Is the thing?
Yeah.
Eternal happiness?
And then he didn't believe that she had forgotten.
Right.
Like, he thought, well, I'm clearly the murderer.
Yeah, right.
I'm covered in blood.
Right.
And then she was like, my hero.
I know. And he was like, oh, okay.
I'm your hero.
Yeah.
And then they
this
lived
suits
out
me fine.
10 years of him keeping his distance.
Yeah.
And giving her advice when she thought her boyfriend was going to propose.
Right.
And being like, well, he'll probably propose around the holidays. Boyfriends love to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're good? All right, I'll see you in 6 months. And we would leave.
Well.
Is that the behavior of an obsessed hero murderer?
I mean.
It doesn't hold up under scrutiny.
No. No, it doesn't.
You'd think that he would just immediately just be like, no, I'm the man for you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not sure.
So.
That's why I had some trouble.
She murders him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like pretty easy.
It's the easiest murder.
Like Sam is like, here, psst, hey. And just like bonks her leg a little bit and like hands her a knife.
This.
I know. I was like,
notice this.
Wow, that was fast, this part.
I was very confused.
Yeah.
It seemed like Sam was in a heap on the floor.
Yeah.
And Quincy and Cooper are standing looking at each other. And then somehow Quincy secretly got the knife off the ground.
I know.
And stuck it in his tummy.
I know. I don't get it.
I didn't understand it
I didn't either.
at all. He dies.
Yeah.
Now everyone knows the truth.
Yeah.
Sam survives.
Yeah.
Ends up going to jail for
the coma beating.
Is that justice?
No. I guess she's, well, I don't know.
I'm fine with all of this, by the way.
Yeah,
I still recommend this book.
I know. I want to make clear that that's still the case. It kind of is, because seriously, none of this would have really happened if it wasn't for Sam.
These are the problems, by the way. This is the stuff.
I'm not too mad at Sam going to jail, to tell you the truth. I was like,
no, she deserves to go to jail.
Yeah.
I'm saying
but for Quincy to not go to jail.
Quincy should go to jail.
Right. Quincy should go to jail.
These are all problems that come about by saying this takes place in the real world, by the way. If you make this be...
It doesn't bother me, though. Like, we're reading a book. You know what I mean?
But I don't think that I'd be sitting around being like, and Michael Myers... He's got a mask.
Yeah, true.
They show his face even though he has him. No one's saying that.
Yeah.
It's because we're supposed to believe this takes place in the conventional real world.
But we're supposed to believe that Mike Myers takes place in the conventional real world.
No, we're not.
Why not?
Because he keeps getting murdered every year and he keeps coming back.
Well, I'm thinking of the first Halloween. You know,
the first Halloween, sure. Yeah. The first Halloween, there's really, aside from him just disappearing at the end, there's nothing to be like, this is a supernatural tale.
I don't know. I really don't have a hard, when I read, like, I think
but it's also a very simple story. This is a very complex story because there's so much layering of red herrings going on.
Yeah.
It wants you to ask these questions. It knows that you're going to try to solve it and it's going to try to lead you down these primrose paths that don't go anywhere. But when you do that a million different ways, it makes my mind start going like, well, then what if this happened? And what if that? And when there are no satisfying answers to those questions, or I start going, wait a minute, then I don't think it's bad in any way because this book does it well.
Yeah.
But it's like, these things come up in my head.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But if this did take place in a world where it's like, you survived like the Southside Strangler.
Yeah.
How about that? I survived the Goopy Mangler. We should be friends.
Yeah.
Let's find other final girls. Save the day somewhere. I'd be like, all right, rip-roaring weird horror adventure.
Right.
Not like, oh, these people are tortured.
Yeah.
And also, everyone did it.
Yeah.
But somehow didn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's also weird.
There's enough that's out there that I'm not looking for realism or like upset about.
I'm not upset about it at all.
Well, noticing. I don't care.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because like it's in the real world, but like, there's no band of final girls.
No. Yeah,
you know
for
what I mean? Like that's not a very real world thing.
Which is why it's weird that it does end on this note of.
I know. The end is weird. It left me in a weird place.
She's not qualified to teach anyone anything.
Definitely not. Quincy needs help.
Yeah. She should be behind bars.
She needs a lot of help. Yeah, Quincy should be behind bars.
She should be in a room she's not allowed to leave, at least for a while.
Yes.
And
she needs assistance. She should not be anybody's
talk therapy,
tutor.
Whatever. She should not be immediately flying out.
No, but
there's been another murder.
Let me show you how well I'm doing, and I can teach you how to do this well.
I'm doing really well.
I keep baking.
I said I was your friend so I could get into your hospital room.
Yeah.
That's true.
I know. Yeah, she scams her way into the person's hospital room. It's weird.
Hi. You're strong.
Maybe that's part of the point.
Who are you? I'm you. This movie should end with that new Final Girl spin. This is a great book. I really enjoyed it.
I know, me too. It's great.
It's great.
Yeah.
Okay. All
right, sweet.
All right, good.
Yeah, read Final Girls.
So both Sam and Cooper secretly went to Lisa's house.
Yeah.
At the end of her life.
Yeah, Lisa's having a lot of secret guests.
And Sam poisons the grape juice that Quincy drinks.
Right.
Which is exactly the same thing that happened to Lisa. She got poisoned in a drink.
Yep. And a grape drink at that. It's wine.
But Sam didn't do that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Correct.
Okay.
So next, we are going to be reading The Magpie Murders, which I mentioned before, and that's by Anthony Horowitz. So let me read you the description. Okay. From the New York Times bestselling author of Moriarty and Trigger Mortis, this fiendishly brilliant, riveting thriller weaves a classic whodunit worthy of Agatha Christie into a chilling, ingeniously original modern-day mystery. When editor Susan Ryland is given the manuscript of Alan Conway's latest novel, she has no reason to think it will be much different from any of his others. After working with the best-selling crime writer for years, she's intimately familiar with his detective, Atticus Pound.
What is it? What's that name? Can I see? This is going to be the best book we've ever read. After working with the best-selling crime writer for years, she's intimately familiar with his detective, Atticus Pound.
That's P-U-N-D with an umlaut over und.
Pound. I'm Atticus Pound.
Detective Pound.
Sounds a little bit like Atlas Shrugged. Atticus Pound.
Oh my god. You're totally right. Oh god. Okay, Atticus Pound, who solves mysteries disturbing sleepy English villages. An homage to queens of classic British crime such as Agatha Christie and Dorothy Sayers, Allen's traditional formula has proved hugely successful. So successful that Susan must continue to put up with his troubling behavior if she wants to keep her job. Conway's latest tale has Atticus Pound investigating a murder at Pie Hall.
What is
it? Well, you sound like you're dying.
Conway's latest tale has Atticus Pound investigating a murder at Pie Hall. It's not as funny.
P-Y-E. It's funnier when you think it's P-I-E. A local manor house. Yes, there are dead bodies and a host of intriguing suspects, but the more Susan reads, the more she's convinced that there is another story hidden in the pages of the manuscript. One of real-life jealousy, greed, ruthless ambition, and murder. Masterful, clever, and relentlessly suspenseful, Magpie Murders is a deviously dark take on vintage English crime fiction in which the reader becomes the detective.
Awesome.
I know, it sounds so good.
That does sound good.
Even Pound aside.
Yeah.
If you can believe it.
Pound included. What are you talking about? That's one of the strongest assets they've got.
I'm saying, even without Pound, it sounds great, so it's really saying something.
With Pound, it's extra.
Oh, beyond.
Cherry on top.
Completely.
Whipped cream.
Atticus Pound.
Atticus Pound. I'm sorry, that was shocking.
Yeah.
That was very startling to me. I'm sorry. I apologize for my behavior.
It's okay. All right.
P-U-N-D with an umlaut.
Yep.
Pound, eh?
Pound.
What sort of, where does that hail from? Where are you from? Wouldn't you like to know? I'll never tell you. I'll never tell you where I'm from. All right. That's in 2 weeks on Book Club Schmook Club. The Magpie Murders.
Yep.
This week on Book Club Schmook Club is done.
We're done.
We just did it.
That's it.
We just reviewed The Final Girls by Riley Sager. A rip-roaring Sager.
Yep.
Entertaining. Yep. Slasher-based mystery thriller. Drama. Intrigue. Thing. Jazz singer.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So go out and read it.
Go out and read it. Tell us what you thought.
Yep.
I'd be very interested to hear any of your theories. I'll say this, I would like more of this world.
Oh, yeah.
If Riley Sager has other Final Girls stories in him, I'd be very interested to read them.
Well, I listened to an interview with him, and he said he hasn't thought any more about doing more with this world, but he's polishing up another book right now.
Oh, very cool.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Didn't this just come out?
It came out over the summer, not that long ago.
Okay.
The publishing road is a windy one, so who knows how long ago he wrote it. I think he wrote it a few years ago.
I'll tell you, one of the things that I would be interested to see in a sequel to this book, around Saw 2, when that came out, I was thinking a lot about the rules of those movies and how they don't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to put you in a trap, you kill yourself, I don't kill you. I was thinking in the third one, put Jigsaw in the trap. Because he's this guy's a weird sicko and he's obviously enjoying it.
Yeah.
So let's put him in the trap, see how much he really enjoys it now.
Right.
Not as intense as that. I would be very interested in another Final Girls movie where maybe we see a future where Quincy has assembled the group of the Final Girls that we were talking about way back in the beginning. She's this mentor, this teacher. She helps them, and then they find out just how dark she is. Yeah. Right?
That'd be awesome.
Wouldn't that be kind of interesting?
Yeah.
And take the complicated character that she is and the darkness that's it's not like there's a light side to her darkness. Right. There's just a darkness there. Yeah. And explore
with a coating
that.
of frosting on top of it.
Yeah. Well, she's got to put that on the blog.
Yep. She's the dark cupcake.
It's called Quincy's Treats or something.
Something like that. Quincy Sweets? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be really interesting.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'd be all about that. Listening to him talk and reading things. I did some research today. He's a huge horror movie and slasher movie fan. He seemed really into it.
Cool.
So it'd be great if he did something like that.
Yeah, I was interested to see what it would be like to read a slasher movie in a book form.
Yeah.
And see if it translates and what does that feel like.
I guess maybe if you guys know of any books like that, you could let us know.
Yeah, I'd be curious to find out. So anyway, tell us any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Communicate with us.
Yep.
On the internet.
Yep. I'm at Chillin' Kristen on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm at Haunted Sponge on us. Everything.
Everywhere.
We'll see you guys next week for an off-topic extracurricular show just talking about whatever we want.
Yep.
And then in 2 weeks, of course, we'll be back for the Magpie Murders.
Of course.
But until that time comes, I must say, good talk, gang.
Meeting adjourned. Bring it in. Joie de vivre. Bam.
Cool. That was fun.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks again for listening to the show. If you enjoyed this episode, you should consider going to our website, www.talkbomb.com, where we have archived every show we've ever done. You can also visit our bonus show store, where we sell exclusive episodes of our podcasts for 50 cents a piece, not to mention our merchandise. If you enjoyed Talk Bomb, the best thing you can do is help us spread the word. Tweet, share, review. We would greatly appreciate anything you can do to spread the word. Please also consider following us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, where we're at TalkBomb. Following us online is the best way to keep up to date with our productions. More than anything, we just hope you enjoyed the show. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you at talkbomb.com. Audio test. Testing. This time you ask me a question. I'm always asking you inane questions.
What'd you have for lunch?
A turkey sandwich.
Okay. Did you have a side?
Yes.
What was the side?
Homemade potato chips.
Really?
Yeah.
They homemade potato chips at your office?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
Oh, man.
They're lemon pepper.
Salted or what? What the fuck?
Uh-huh.
You know how we've talked about us meeting up like for lunch sometime?
Yeah.
Like, are strangers allowed in your cafeteria?
Yeah. That's a curious way to phrase it.
Like, I don't work there. Would I be allowed to go there?
Yeah. Yes.
What?
I guess I don't understand. Do you think that they check ID?
Maybe.
Walk into my building? No.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can just walk right in.
Oh, okay.
You don't even have to have lunch with me. You could just show up and have lunch there.
No, thank you.
That'd be weird if I came down to the cafeteria and you were...
Oh, hi, Will.
I'm lunching.
Yeah. People go to the Princeton hospital for lunch.
I hope not the high school.
Me too. The hospital. It's supposed to be like a really good cafeteria. Have you heard
That's
that?
what I have. Yes, I have heard that.
It's weird.
Very weird. I went in. It's a really nice hospital.
Yeah.
It's the Princeton Plainsboro Hospital. It's the hospital from House.
Yeah.
Made several
really?
years after that show ended, I think.
Really?
Yeah, Dr. House works at the Princeton Plainsboro Medical Hospital.
And is that a thing that didn't exist before
It didn't
then?
exist until they built it shortly after
And
the
it's
show
supposed to
ended.
be Princeton, New Jersey?
Yeah.
Weird. I didn't know that.
So I went into that hospital once to visit someone.
Yeah.
And I had it in the back of my head that people come here for lunch all the time, so I bet it's really nice.
Yeah.
Just felt like a fucking hospital. Like you don't want to be in there.
Weird.
Yeah. So why I cannot imagine anyone going in there.
Maybe the food's amazing? Like how
That's
good
me
could it?
reacting to what if the food were amazing.
Yeah.
Just imagining
sounds good.
Imagining some tasty food. All right.
Okay.
You made a yummy noise.